a very thin line between the two in some cases, and it might be a controversial issue. So how should this debate proceed in that context?
Well, I think a lot of it is around context and appropriacy of language to particular situations. As I said, many utterances, if they're in the Sri Lankan context, they'll be fine, but you can't just pluck them out and use them in a business meeting in an international context. So it's not that one is right and the other is wrong. It's the appropriacy of that particular utterance in a given context, and it's really teaching students to appreciate those nuances so that they can appreciate Sri Lankan English for what it is and espouse it and be proud of it in the national context, but understand how to slide into a more standard version if they're operating in an international context, or maybe talking to tourists or overseas visitors. So that's the challenge for the English teacher, and I think that the presidential initiative has just started setting up a task force to develop materials to help teachers to understand how to actually do this in practice.
So I guess
in the classroom.
In that light, codification of the standard Sri Lankan English must be a priority.
Absolutely, yeah, and some work has already been done on this. As I said, there are a number of prominent Sri Lankan academics who've been working on this for a long time, and then more recently Michael's dictionary. I mean, it's a great piece of work, and he's got it up online, and he continually adds to it, because I think the fascinating thing about all languages, and certainly English, is that language is constantly evolving. And that goes for Sri Lankan English and British English and any standard of English.
Because
it's
even in
British
English, there's so many dialects and
That's
varieties,
right.
and
Yes.
it has evolved.
That's right.
So why not the Sri Lankan English in that sense?
Yes.
So I guess the confusion also comes when it comes to this debate is confusing broken English, so to say, actually like mistakes or errors that people usually make as standard English, Sri Lankan English, because that according to this discussion, it is exactly not that we're referring to, but it's more contextualized based on the context, and codifying that will actually help to reduce this confusion that entails this debate.
I think it will, yeah. I think it's very important to see Sri Lankan English as a variety in its own right. It's not some kind of substandard version of the real thing, and I think that's very important in sociolinguistic terms, but also in the challenge, if you like, for the presidential initiative and all the teachers of English in Sri Lanka to make English into a medium of communication which is really identified with the Sri Lankan people, and that they feel happy with, and that they don't feel that they're being forced to learn somebody else's language. They're learning it because they realise that it's important for their futures, and that it's a language which they co-own.
Right, Jill. So let's move on to a different section now. I want to refer to this graduate entrepreneurship. Especially, you are a person to talk about it because you have shown keen interest in this area, and it is like a body of work that British Council in Sri Lanka has, I think, not touched upon before you took office, and that was your creating the concept of the National Entrepreneurship Week and also the National Entrepreneurial University. So Jill, why did you think of these concepts, and what was your role in advocating the same?
Well, I think when I came in, I was very anxious that we needed to come up with some new agendas to work with Sri Lanka to really show that we were interested in a partnership which involved mutual exchange in the field of higher education. I think the UK has had a long association with Sri Lankan universities through higher education links in all sorts of different academic areas. But we were really looking for an area which touched chords in both our countries. And I think it's true to say that in the UK there's been a very big push to get more of the age cohort into university. When I went to university many moons ago, it was really 5-6% of the age cohort who went to university. Now they're edging towards 50%. That's the eventual target. So if you've got up to 50% of your age cohort in university, you need to make sure that when they graduate, they actually have skills which fit them for the workplace. There's no point in churning out graduates who have no employable skills. And this is a very, very big agenda in the UK, and we have seen the birth of many new organisations like the National Council for Graduate Entrepreneurship, Enterprise Educators UK, many organisations that have really been supported by the British government, helping universities to move towards curricula and methodologies which make sure that the graduates that they turn out are employable. And one of the criteria for success is what percentage of the graduates that leave the university are employed quickly, are absorbed into the workforce. So talking to people this end, talking to Vice-Chancellors, talking to the University Grants Commission, we realised that that was also a pressing need here. Everybody knows that only about 18 to 20% of the age cohort is able to get into universities, even if they get the right A-levels. And so it's important that those people who do take those university places come out of university as employable graduates.
Right, Gill. So on this note, we will take a small break and we'll be back with you to continue the discussion on graduate entrepreneurship. Stay with us.